When I think about VIP, I think about these volunteers and this organization that stands in that in between abuse and healing, between crisis and resolution, between powerlessness and agency. So we're so happy to have Chelsea with us, who's going to let us know about the really wonderful work that continues. So thank you, Chelsea.
Now, or I didn't know if you wanted me to start talking now or wait until the end.
No, no, now you're on. You're
Okay.
on. You
Okay.
are on.
Great.
And folks can turn their if they turn their speaker view, uh, you will have a
You just,
larger version.
you just get my whole face.
Get it?
Well,
Well,
I thank you for the introduction. And I do want to say how appreciative I am of this group because I live very far away from you. And my boss always gives me the option. She's like, "You're going all the way to Narrowsburg. We have staff that live closer. Do you want somebody else to go?" And I don't take this group away from me. I want to go see you guys. You're very refreshing. And I just really value you, your personalities, your hearts as a whole. You guys are really wonderful. Um, and that is beyond the fact that you raise money for us. That is not me being thankful for the monetary donations that you make. It's just a nice reminder to see good hearts in the world and just remember that goodness does actually exist when all we see is the bad stuff all the time. And Lori, I really like the way you compared VIP to the in-between because I think that's a really good description of who we are. We are the in between the crisis and the solution, or the crisis and the path to healing. We are the path, I guess, to healing. I know most of you you all look kind of familiar. The names sound familiar. I feel like most of you have heard me speak in the past about VIP. But for anybody who hasn't, we are the victim service provider in both Wayne and Pike counties. When I say victim service provider, that just means we are here to help victims of all different types of crime and abuse. Most of our survivors that come to us are surviving domestic or sexual violence, but we also work with survivors of child abuse, of human trafficking and stalking and elder abuse, and really any kind of man-made trauma that you can think of. Our staff is highly trained to intervene and counsel people through. So the services that we provide for free at no cost to any of the survivors that come through our doors is a 24-hour hotline, which is invaluable. I'm actually on call, so if I get a phone call, you know why I'm stepping away. But it's answered by us, the staff members, the volunteers that offer their time to us. It is always going to be a live person whenever somebody is in need. We also offer 24-hour emergency shelter because, like Lori said at the very beginning, everybody deserves to be safe in their home. Home is meant to be a safe place, a safe feeling. And if it's not, we can help. We get people into our shelter. We make sure that their most basic human needs of safety and food and a place to sleep are met. And then we can start the process of what comes next. Because you can't figure anything out until you are fed and you are safe. And that is always going to be our main goal for our survivors and their children. And then beyond those crisis services, that's when the in-between part happens. And this is when we help them through individualized counseling or through group counseling, help them plan for their future, help them understand healthy relationships in general, because sometimes our survivors come to us and they've never seen an example of a healthy relationship. So how are they supposed to know what to look for in a partner if they've never seen it in real life or on TV? Because healthy relationships don't make good entertainment, so you never see them on TV or in movies. So that's our goal. We also work with children. So we have these same services set up for kids we actually have child counselors who work in every school throughout Wayne and Pike counties in all the school districts. So they go and see kids individually and offer sessions for children who are direct victims or who have witnessed abuse in their home. And then they also run groups throughout the schools. Um, And we offer, I'm trying to think, legal advocacy. So we have legal advocates in each of our offices who their only job is to help people understand the justice system and the court system because it's extremely confusing. So they sit with them every single day. They help them fill out the paperwork for protection orders or for filing charges against somebody. They go to court hearings with them so they just always have someone in their corner and they're not alone sitting in this big open courtroom in front of a million strangers. There's always going to be somebody by their side. And we also offer medical advocacy. There's two parts to this. One means that we can accompany victims to any kind of medical appointment that they have that is relating to abuse or trauma. So whether we're meeting somebody in the ER after a rape or a sexual assault and we're standing with them in the room, we're helping facilitate conversation between the doctor or the police and just being a support person for them, helping them understand their rights in the moment because you might think you know your rights, but as soon as you're in a crisis, it all just goes out of your head. So we are there to help them remember who they are and what they can say yes and no to. Or if it's an appointment afterwards, maybe they suffered a traumatic brain injury and now they have to go for extensive testing, we can go with them to those kind of appointments as well. And we also have a position at VIP that is dedicated to training healthcare professionals because oftentimes they are the very first line of defense that victims run into, and we want to make sure that they know exactly how to get them to us, how to talk to them in a trauma-informed manner, and how to offer the best possible care for survivors in our community. So our medical advocacy project is newer, but it is booming. And I can tell you every single new employee that comes through Wayne Memorial Hospital knows VIP. They have our information in their pocket and they are trained by our medical advocate. No matter what position they hold in that hospital, they know about us and they've heard us speak, which is a really powerful thing for us. So those are just some of the services that we can offer on a daily basis. And I go over them every time because I want to remind you of what your donations are supporting. So this 5K, all of the money that comes to us helps make sure that those kind of services continue, especially in the moments where our government is unstable and we don't know when we're going to get a paycheck or when we're going to be reimbursed or if we're going to be able to continue providing services. These donations from the community, that is what keeps us going in those moments of uncertainty. And it is absolutely critical to the work that we do every single day. So I really thank you and everybody else who thinks about us in the back of their minds. It means a lot. I mean, I don't know. I'm also just here to answer any questions that you guys have about the program, about what we do, what we can and can't offer. Let me have them.
Who does fund you?
So we have a lot of people. There's not one singular answer. We get funds from the Pennsylvania Coalition Against Domestic Violence, the Pennsylvania Coalition to Advance Respect, which was the PA Coalition Against Rape. They've just kind of expanded their name because they do a little bit more than just advocating for sexual violence survivors. They advocate for survivors of everybody and just social justice in general is their theme right now, which we need. And the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. So those are our three big state funders. They get money from the federal government and then it trickles down to them and they trickle it out throughout the whole state. So we're not directly federal government employees, but we do receive pass-through funding from the federal government. And then we also rely on a lot of smaller community-based grants. So I know like the Greater Honesdale Partnership has grants that we oftentimes fall in line with, and we get some from the community block grant of Pike County. I don't know, there's a million different names, but small community grants help us really get things off the ground in-house. Our state funding helps cover the big stuff, and then when we want to do smaller things like, I don't know, take our women's empowerment group bowling so that they remember that there is fun after trauma. That's where those grants come in. They help us fund little things, the fun stuff. And then, of course, we're a nonprofit, so donations from individuals or small businesses in the community.
If no one's else talking, I think I asked this the last time, and I'm not sure how it was answered. It could be my memory. If someone calls the police because they don't know that you are available to them, what's the process from the time that they call the police? Will they contact you? How does that work when they need more than just police intervention?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it really depends on the police department that they're calling. All of the police know about us. Every borough police department, the state police, they know we exist. They have our brochures. There's a program called the Lethality Assessment Program or Project, maybe. And this is a questionnaire that we hope police are asking anytime that they're called to a domestic violence disturbance, because domestic violence is deadly. It's also one of the deadliest calls that police officers can show up to, because you never know what's going to come out. They are more likely to be killed responding to a domestic than they are a traffic violation or like gang involvement. So the questionnaire is really designed to help the police understand the lethality of the moment that they're in and the lethality of the relationship. And the hope is that if a victim scores high on these like 5 to 8 questions that they ask, that they will, in that moment while they are with the victim, call us and then hand the phone over to the survivor. So at least the survivor knows we exist. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. We're working on it with them. In a typical case, if they do believe that they need our help and the police officer is willing to get them in contact with us somehow, it's as simple as either the officer themselves or the victim calling us, calling our hotline, and seeing what they need. If they need shelter, can the police bring them over to the shelter? We'll meet them there. It can be that quick and that simple. If they're going back to the police station, we'll meet them at the station to help them, whether it's advocate for them, help them fill out the paperwork, talk about coming to our shelter, or finding a way to get them to a safe place. Because many people do have other resources. In the moment, they just don't think about it. And it might not feel possible for them to utilize those resources, especially if they're like, well, my mom does, I do have a mom and I'm close with her, but she lives out in California. All right, let's get you a plane ticket. We can take you to the airport tomorrow. We'll get you to your safe place if that's where you want to be. So I'd like to say that it's quick, the timeline between police showing up and them getting to us, but it all comes down to the officer that responds and the victim, because sometimes they don't want to go. It's more dangerous for them to leave than it is to stay in the relationship sometimes.
How often are you in contact with the police departments to remind them that you're around? I mean, because there could be new officers, new people that don't know that you even exist, and you have to start all over again.
Yeah, especially with state police. In Blooming Grove, especially, it's like a revolving door over there. There's new people every single month. Our local police departments are usually really responsive when we send emails or try to partner with them for a great example is April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So last year, we gave out pins to law enforcement, just like little ribbons that they can put on their uniforms. They wore them all month. They took pictures with us. That's coming up again. So a lot of them still have the pins. We've already talked to them about it. Our local departments are wonderful when it comes to partnering with awareness projects like that. So the small local PD are really, really in tune with us and in touch with us. State police is a little difficult because they're bigger. They have more ground to cover. There's always somebody different, like you said, for us to contact and touch base with. I do try to get to them at least once a year, whether that's just me stopping by with a new brochure or another poster for their bathroom.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Just want to let you know that I used to, when I lived up there, I don't live in that area any longer. I used to raise funds for the Budroo walk. I used to set up with other members grocery stores in the area when they let us. Sometime after a while, they decided we couldn't do that. But when we could, we were very successful. People were like, they saw what we were collecting for and they would throw money in. And so many women and others came by to say
Mhm.
that you were helpful and it was saved their lives. So I just want to let you know that you're doing a really good job, and people went out of their way to expose themselves and make themselves vulnerable to say that they were helped by VIP. So thank you very much for that, for them also.
Thank you. Thank you for the reminder. Because sometimes we don't
Nobody
see the
tells you,
end
right?
results most of the time.
Yeah, people
They
were
come to
really
us
good.
for a while, they feel good, they leave, and we just
Yep. They're out there.
hope you don't need to call us again. Hope you have a good rest of your life. So it's nice to hear that kind of feedback.
I'm just wondering if you're seeing any kind of uptick on things as we kind of slip into more of a cultural Wild West.
Ugh. Uh, I will say, at least in our small office in Pike County, which is where I typically am based in Milford, our phone has been ringing a lot. Is it related to the bigger umbrella of what's happening in our country? I don't know. I will also say it's really common for us to see an uptick around this time of the year because the people who have been home just trying to get through the holidays are coming back around to realize that I can't live like this anymore. I can't live with this abuse any longer. So we get eerily quiet from November to like January, and then things start to really pick up for us. So I don't know if there's a correlation between the uptick and the usual timeline, or if it's more based off of what's happening. If anything, I honestly think that people would be less likely to reach out to us because they're terrified. And even though I did just explain that we're not necessarily a government agency, people think of us as a government agency. We are a privately run business, but I think there is a fear of the government right now, and I think that's a barrier for a lot of people that could use our services that don't realize that we're not going to call you in. We don't care about your citizenship status. We don't care about what language you speak. We don't care about any of it. We just want you to be whole and safe.
So what happens when they do call and there is a language barrier? Is there someone that picks up on that?
We do have, I actually think we have three. I'm really happy for this because in my time at VIP, I've been here for 7 years. I There was a long period where we had no Spanish speaking staff because it's the pool that we have to pick from. We're a very whitewashed community, so it's hard to get people into our business working with us who are not white. And we, for the first time, have three Spanish-speaking individuals on our staff, which is amazing. So as soon as we get somebody who we know is not going to, even if they can speak English, but it's not their first language, I want you to speak your first language. I want you to feel comfortable in what you're saying and completely understand what's being said to you. So we just connect them with one of those women as fast as possible.
That's wonderful.
Other languages, we work with, I forget the company off the top of my head, but we do have like a language line that we can access in just a few minutes, and we get a confidential interpreter for any language, even American Sign Language, which is really nice. We can have them up on the screen at the same time as our client, and we can really communicate with them effectively.
That's great.
Yeah,
Really good. Thank you.
it's a great question. Anyone else?
Sheila, you're muted.
This may sound a little absurd, but a friend of mine lost her sister, was very untoward, a massive heart attack in Northern Ireland, and she was in Australia. And she requested the bereavement fare, which was, maybe a discount of $250. So my question is, when you have to fly somebody somewhere, do they give you a decent break, or is it the same business of just a small reduction in price?
No, no, they don't. We don't work with one specific airline either, and it doesn't happen enough for us to get any kind of discount when it comes to airlines and travel. But I will say, if we have to hotel somebody, let's say that our shelter is full or they have a pet that they can't leave behind, and we can put them in a pet-friendly hotel. The hotels in the surrounding area do know about us and they do partner with us, so we get a really discounted rate from them. And they also don't ask for the survivor's name. So we just call as VIP. We're saying we're checking in Susie Q. And
Right.
they check in Susie Q for us, and that's who we tell the victim when you get in, this is the name you're gonna give. So they do work with us really well. And we also like some local taxi services. I think there's like literally one in the area that covers the entirety of Wayne and Pike counties. They are really wonderful too, and they will give us a discount on small back and forth travel. But when it comes to bigger expenses like airline fees, what do we have in our little pot of gold that we can use to get this person to safety?
I was just notified by my credit card from American Airlines that I'm due some credit for an airline ticket. I once gave some to my daughter and she used it, so I know I can transfer them. I don't know if it could be useful now because it's I think it's over by March 8th or something like that. But I'm just wondering if people couldn't donate things like I'm just putting that out there because I know they're available and I know that we're probably not going to use that, that
Yeah.
ticket.
Yeah. And it's so hard when things are time sensitive like that because we could absolutely have somebody call the hotline right now and say, I need help, I need to go.
If they do, you can call me. I'll tell you
Yeah,
what to
but
do.
then we might
I
not
don't know
ever
how
get
much it's
somebody on
going
a
to be, but it'll
plane.
be something toward the trip. It sounds like it's big. Who knows? My daughter was able to go all the way out to California and back, so I don't know if there's that much now, but it could be something. So
Yeah.
if it happened, you can get my number.
I will remember
You
you,
can do all the
Sharon.
paperwork because I can't go through that again. But I know I have some. But that's an interesting idea, right? That you could actually
Mhm.
I
Donate
wonder
plane
if the
tickets or
credit card
travel.
company would be able to send it to them,
I'm
like as a,
I'm just saying
yeah.
if it turns out before
Not you. I mean, you could call your company and see if they would do something like that to the VIP, being that it's like state funded and all that stuff.
I could. I have it on to call to ask what it is and
Yeah.
how worth it
Right.
is for me to go through all the
Yeah.
aggravation. Sometimes you find $11 and $11.10 or
Right.
something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was just thinking about that as another way that people could donate
Yeah.
if
And
they're
then
not going to use their miles.
it does bring up a good like a good topic segue for me too when it comes to donations, like physical donations. We work with a few thrift stores in the area. So when people call and they say they want to donate furniture, they want to donate clothing, we are very small offices. So if we said yes to every donation, we'd be sitting on stacks of clothing instead of chairs. But these thrift shops will take donations on our behalf and they, write down their value or whatever they value that at, and then they give us a store credit. So we're able to send our survivors to that shop and then they can shop for whatever they want in the styles they like and the sizes and colors that appeal to them
Good
instead of us
idea.
just handing out a sweatsuit
Yeah.
Good
to somebody
idea.
that might not be the right size. So we work with Mommy and Me in Honesdale, the other shop, literally called the other shop, which is in Honesdale and Hawley, and then Redress, which is in Lords Valley. And they've all been really wonderful to work with. And it's just, like I said, it's hard enough when people come through our doors and we just give them a handout of something that might be a gray sweatshirt and oversized sweatpants. But when they get to go into a store and really shop for themselves, it's not just giving them clothing, it's giving them a little bit of control and dignity back.
That's great. That's a really good idea.
And then we don't have to take all of the donations because I don't know where we would put them.
What do you do when you get a caller from New York State? I know you're Pennsylvania funded, but somebody calls you from Narrowsburg and says they need help. Would you just simply refer them to Fearless over here in Newburgh or wherever they're based?
It depends. So it depends on what they're looking for and what we can provide them. So if they're calling and they're looking for legal advocacy, our lawyers don't work in New York. They are licensed in Pennsylvania. And we're not familiar with the system out there either. So in those cases, yes, we would always refer them to Fearless because I don't want to give you wrong information. Same thing with We're in this really sweet spot where I live in New Jersey. I am 6 minutes from our Pennsylvania office. So we get a lot of people from New Jersey calling us too. And it's a very similar thing. Depending on what they're looking for, we might refer them back to their county's program. But if they're counseling, that's the same no matter where you go. Safety planning, counseling, emergency shelter, that is the same across all state lines. So if they are not safe in Narrowsburg because maybe their abuser is part of the police department, they're a first responder, they are in the local government, doesn't feel safe to stay home, even if home is the same town or the same county. In those cases, yeah, absolutely, we can help. When we're limited geographically, it really just is my job that's limited, where I can't necessarily go out and fundraise in New York State. I can't go into Orange County, New York, and start a fundraiser because that is stepping on Fearless's toes, and we wouldn't want to do that. Same with, going into Sussex County, New Jersey. I'm not going to fundraise over here because that takes funds away from Daisy, which is the program over here in Sussex. So that's kind of the only geographical limitation we have. But like I said, services are services. Safety is safety, counseling is counseling, healing is healing, and that's not going to change from state to state.
Thank you.
When you mentioned fundraising, other than people like us raising, do you have your own fundraisers as well?
We do. Our board, gosh, what do they do? They have 2 big flower sales every year. So they have one coming up in the spring, and then they have one in the fall. And those are actually wildly successful. I never thought that you could make that much money selling geraniums, but you do, actually. Those are 2 of our biggest fundraisers. And then they do a really successful golf tournament in Wayne County every year. And we did just take on 2 new board members. And one of them, his husband is like an avid runner and really wants to start a 5K for us.
Great.
So I'm hoping that gets off the ground and I will not be running, but I will absolutely be cheering people on from the sidelines.
I'm asking this because I'm so fascinated. I had once met, I guess, with Michelle Wolf. Yeah, a long time ago, and I came up with the idea of going to the local high school or schools, I don't know how many there are, and going to the music and drama departments and having the idea of having other people involved so they know about it. And I thought that if you had a talent show, then you'd have all the parents and all the grandmas and all the grandpas and everybody in the family showing up and paying money. I just had this, I said, I wasn't going to be there long enough to try to run it, but I love the idea because if you have your kid in a talent show or in a dancing school or any place that they're performing, guess who's coming? Everybody.
Yeah.
And the fact that you could also get a lot of people in the community involved in something that's very family oriented. It was just an idea I came up with, and we thought it was a good idea, but nobody wanted to put that time in. And it could be other people as well, but they would all have to be vetted, for their talent. But it could be an interesting idea. A lot of work.
That would be. And if you saw, I'm like scribbling ideas down too, because our children's program has really grown throughout the past 2 or 3 years. And now we have a full staff of child counselors. We have 3 in Wayne, only 1 in Pike County, but she has the biggest caseload of anybody. It's actually probably unhealthy.
So the other thing I'm always big on is I'm wondering if some of the people who have been helped would come back and hold something like to tell their story.
They do.
Oh, they do. That's so
great. Yes.
That's so meaningful to other people that are just, coming in on this. That's great.
Yeah, we do 2 events per year where we ask our survivors to speak, and whether they're getting up on their own and speaking in front of a crowd, or they're writing something for us as advocates to give voice to, or they're creating something with their story. Maybe they're extremely talented with arts, or they are very musically inclined. They write a song or lyrics, poem, whatever it might be. However their voice can be heard, we encourage it. So we do one of those in April, which is our annual Take Back the Night. And this is probably I think our most well-attended event. And it's centered around sexual violence prevention and awareness, and calling out victim shaming and victim blaming, and talking about how we can actually prevent sexual violence and the language that we use around it. And It's our most well-attended event. So I will make sure to send Tom our flyer for that when it comes around to share with the group, because I would love to see any of you there, whether you just come to watch or you tune into our social media and see any live videos that we put up. But that is always so powerful to hear from
Great.
our past clients. And it's part of their healing journey too. And our advocates will work that into counseling sessions starting around this time of the year. They start talking about it, asking if they'd be interested, and then they write their story together. They practice in front of their advocate. They might practice in front of a small group of us at VIP. So that when they get up on stage and they're in front of 30 to 50 people, they feel ready to do it.
That's wonderful.
That it is powerful.
That's great. Okay, I guess I'm done with my questions.
That's okay. Stephen has a question.
Yeah, I like how do do you have any problems getting the word out that you exist, that your services are available? How exactly do you let people know that you're out there?
Yeah, good question. It's me. I'm the only outreach advocate that we have in both counties. So part of my job is some like old-fashioned street outreach and just walking up and down main streets when I can and handing out our flyers and our information to businesses.
Mhm.
I I do think most people get to us by word of mouth. So they might not have known
Okay.
about us, but their cousin twice removed heard about us from an information table at a community event. And that's
Okay.
how people tend to find us. So we really try to latch on to any community event that we see where they're asking for vendors or information tables. We'll always be there handing out our information.
All right.
And honestly, social media at this point, I feel like most people end up finding resources and even getting news off of social media. So we try to have a really big presence and always encourage people to follow us and engage with our content, because then we're more likely to show up on somebody else's feed. And you never know who's going to see us and really need our services.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It is it's an interesting time. There's a lot of people talking about sexual abuse these days, so we can hope that it that awareness helps. So thank you. In terms of closing words, changes abound around us, within us, between us, in our communities, our neighborhoods, and our beloved faith communities. Changes abound. May we each find the balance point we need as we move through our ever changing world. The balance between the old and the new, between the known and the unknown, between the familiar and perhaps bold and risky possibilities that may be there waiting. I have one more little chant. The words are, I'm renewed by the circling of the earth. I'm renewed by the warmth of the sun. I'm renewed by the breath of the wind in the trees. I'm renewed and refreshed by love. I'm renewed with the circling of the earth. I'm renewed with the warmth of the sun. I'm renewed with the breath of the wind in the trees. I'm renewed and refreshed by love. I'm renewed and refreshed. I'm renewed and refreshed. I'm renewed and refreshed. I'm renewed and refreshed by love. I'm renewed and refreshed by love. So we're going to extinguish our candles, and I know Sharon will join me in blowing out her candle with the words, between the dawn and dusk, between the dawn and the dusk of our being, let us be brave and loving. In our little passage through the light, let us sustain and forward the human venture in gentleness, in service, in love, and in thought. Amen. Well, thank you all. I hope you stay warm. Do not binge on the news like I am doing. I'm doing it for you. Don't worry.
Don't do it.
Thank you.
You know, when you feel that urge,
Thank
go,
you,
oh no,
Chelsea.
Lori is wasting her time for us. So don't worry. Anyway,
Hi, everybody. Great to see everybody.
Thank
thank
you
you so much,
all.
Jess.
Don't forget
everyone.
to email me if you want the information. But thank you so much, everyone. Much love.
Yeah, back to you, Tamara.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you
Thanks
next
so much.
week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Yeah.